Hello everyone, I'm Mark Daniel Patrick. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. Let's get right into some comment reactions from last week's video, which was Alexander Hamilton. If you haven't seen that, I'll throw that up top. Go watch that one as well. And just before I forget, of course, In the Heights the musical was finally released this week. We will have some videos on that film in the coming weeks for this channel. But for today, you can watch a full reaction video of the opening number of that film live now on our Patreon page. It is at the link below. And our first comment comes to us from Diana, who says, "That beat after Leslie says I'm the damn fool that shot him, I've never noticed before. You can see his face change. Almost like in that moment, all the things he realizes in the world was wide enough cross his mind. So brilliant." Thank you, Diana. Yeah, that's so true. I love that beat that Leslie gives, and it's almost as if the whole show is intended to set up everything that happens at the end. They kind of show it to you all at the beginning. And then the rest of the show is kind of filling in the gaps of how they got there. I'll give that to Leslie maybe. He has so much conviction and he's so solid in what he does on stage. And definitely that beat and that shift is definitely a foreshadow of what's to come in the rest of the show. So it's a great pickup. I wanted to highlight that. Thank you so much, Diana. Our next comment comes to us from Janet. "I've had an epiphany after listening to you talk about the opening line. Burr and Hamilton were polar opposites in their upbringing, but despite his humble upbringings, Hamilton always came out on top until the end, that is. It's almost as if Burr couldn't get past someone who came from nothing having greater success than he had. Hence the opening line being repeated at several points throughout the show." Yeah, Janet, thank you so much for that comment. That's so true. I think what I tried to highlight in that video is, despite someone being, born in a more advantageous position than someone else, there are certain things that are always put in front of us in our life, and it's up to us to go and get that. So maybe, yeah, Burr was born into a better family, so that gives him a bit of a leg up. But there's all these things that came up in Hamilton's life that allowed him to become maybe a little bit more educated, become, a little bit more knowledgeable about finance, to become a little bit more in touch or almost in debt to this country of America. So there's a lot of little things that come out in all of our lives that we need to be able to recognize and take advantage of those, that then give us maybe a bigger leg up. But so it's a really great point for sure. I will say, Burr taking what he wants in the end by shooting Hamilton, immediate regret by him, right? So he's maybe recognizes that wasn't the point in his life, that they should step out and take what he wants. And I recently had a discussion about this with a friend of mine who said, his friend doesn't like the musical because it paints Hamilton as the protagonist of the show, and someone who did no wrong, and this great, beautiful man. And I couldn't help but think, does it really? I mean, and do we really see him as the protagonist? If you dig deep into each and every song, does he really come out as the one we're all admiring and aspiring to become, and the hero of our story? I'm not so sure. Maybe it's for another topic for another video. But Janet, thank you so much for that comment. Appreciate it. So today we're going to take a look at, again, the incomparable Philippa Soo. Now, late in the second act with the number "It's Quiet Uptown," Philippa is technically part of that number, but the devastation and the pain she's in throughout that whole thing, she really just remains silent and stoic throughout the entire number. So I thought we need to take a look at the number where she gets to show off with this absolute beautiful melody. This is Philippa Soo and Lin-Manuel Miranda with "That Would Be Enough."
Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. Look around, look around.
How long have you known?
A month or so.
Eliza, you should have told me.
I wrote to the general a month ago. I begged him to send you home.
You should have told me.
I'm not sorry.
Oh. First of all, I love that shot. That's such a beautiful shot they have there. That's beautifully composed. Her voice, we cannot say it enough. We've said it in Helpless, in her version of Burn. No matter what number it is, every phrase she sings, I find she swells in and out of it so incredibly well. It just sounds so effortless to her. It's so good.
I knew you'd fight until the war was won, but you deserve a chance to meet your son. Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now.
Will you relish being a poor man's wife, unable to provide for your life?
See, that one, look, I don't know why why he chooses to deliver lines like that. I mean, he could come out and say it a little cleaner and say it a little better. Why everything is in here, why he tries to make it all bundled up into his throat, just to put that emotional spin on it. Those are the types of things that really, look, eventually we'll get to my shot, which is coming up. We will get to that video very soon on this channel. And he excels. He absolutely takes it and runs with it. No one else can touch him in numbers like that. It's these moments, these soft, these soft, subtle moments that kind of loses me, unfortunately. Just I want more out of it, and it's never there.
Relish being your wife. Look around, look around. Look at where you are. Look at where you started. The fact that you're alive is a miracle. Just stay alive, that would be enough. And if this child shares a fraction of your smile, or a fragment of your mind, look out, world, that would be enough. I don't pretend to know the challenges you are facing, the worlds you keep erasing and creating in your mind.
I'm sorry to stop right here, but that's so good. I love that. So I hate to comment, I don't want to waste time with like little comments, but for me, that's such a great acting switch right there. That's such a great shift. So, what is she trying to do in this scene? She's trying to convince Hamilton that staying home from the war is the right thing. Like, look, we don't need all these things. We don't need you to be this big brave hero. You need to just be here for me and for your son. So she's going to use different tactics within this song to try and convince him that that's what he needs to do. So just before that, she was saying about how, if your son is a fraction of your mind, look out, we've got something on our hands here. And then you have that subtle shift where she allows herself to take a beat and start talking about how she can't explain why he acts the way he does, why he thinks he needs to be this hero of the story, and her emotional shift in that is just so perfect. So I'm going to try and go back here so we can watch it again. It's very little things, but it's so well done. So let's try it here.
And look out, world, that would be enough. I don't pretend
That little
to
look
know
off and that shift is so spot on.
challenges you are facing, the worlds you keep erasing and creating in your mind. But I'm not afraid. I know who I marry, so long as you come home at the end of the day. That would be enough. We don't need a legacy. We don't need money. If I could grant you peace of mind, if you could let me inside your heart, oh, let me be a part of the narrative in the story they will write someday. Let this moment be the first chapter where you decide to stay. And I could be enough.
That's so that's not in an easy spot for her to hold that. Just where it sits in her voice, the fact that she's able to get so much out of it and crescendo right through it is so beautiful. It's really good.
And we could be enough. That would be enough.
God. Credit where credit is due. Lynn writes such a beautiful melody here. I love that so much. It's Quiet Uptown, this one. Back to those melodies are just so freaking beautiful. Yeah, she's great in that. Look, there's so many things I want to get to here. Number one, I'll say, I didn't comment on it in the video, but Philippa loves a very wide vowel, and that's so smart because, and you can watch her, as she at the ends of phrases or long held notes, you can see her come out and extend that vowel placement, which is so smart because it's going to help you stay in pitch. It once you start to close that off, the sound can't resonate as well, and you could waver a little bit. So it's very smart that way. I love, and her diction as well is just, it's a musical theater dream. The way she finishes those D's and T's and gets off. It's so incredibly good. In terms of Eliza and Hamilton, even just watching it right now, this is such a big moment in the show. This is such a moment where Eliza is pleading with him, saying, look, you continue down this path and we're not going to have a legacy together. Your legacy is going to be whatever people decide to write, and whatever I decide is going to get out there. If you can just stay with me, stay here, let's build our future together. Obviously, the stubborn man doesn't listen, and it's then up to Eliza to carry on and write his legacy and write a legacy for herself and in all the things that she accomplished after his death. And I've talked about it before. The title of the show is Hamilton. It's not Alexander Hamilton, it's Hamilton. And who else is a Hamilton but Eliza? So much of this show sets up for her to really take everything that they went through together, and for her to be the one that now gets to tell his story, for her to be the one that now drives the narrative, as she says so beautifully in the final song of the show. But it's absolutely so perfect and gorgeous. It's, they didn't make any wrong steps in casting this musical. You're hard pressed to find someone who doesn't belong in their role. That's part of what makes this, such a monumental success, and something that's just gonna live on forever. But God, that's so good. All right, that's all the time we have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave me a comment of what you thought of this video and what you'd like to see in the future. Until next time, I'm Mark Daniel Patrick, and we'll see you next week.